Hello and welcome back to the TomFM channel. Today it's part 2 of the Transfer Embargo experiment. We've put a transfer embargo on every single Football League club in England and we're seeing what's happened. We're running it for 22 seasons up till 2040, so a long time. We've gone 10 years in the future from last episode, so we've now gone 15 years in future since the start of the experiment. So we've gone quite a long time and I've had a look through it already. It's actually pretty mental. So before we get into it, if you've not seen part 1 of this video, go and check that one out. It's really interesting. It sort of lays the foundation, I think, for the rest of these videos. So go and check that one out. I'll leave a little link to the card in the top right of the screen right now. There should be somewhere. So click on that if you've not seen episode 1 yet. If you have seen episode 1 yet, before we get into it, make sure you do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here so you don't miss another video just like this one. And actually, we're not too far away from 10,000 subscribers and I'd quite like to get to that. So if you could all just help me out there, that'd be great. So we'll start off actually just on this screen. You can already see some massive changes already. Halifax, for example, down here are in the Championship. Obviously, we didn't put the transfer embargo on National League clubs or non-league clubs, so non-league clubs can buy players. And we started to see last episode that a few of them have started to climb the ranks in the Football League. This episode, you can really see they've climbed the ranks in the Football League. Looking down here, actually, on the insecure jobs list as well, there are some interesting ones. Marco Verratti is manager of Aston Villa. Anthony Martial is manager of Derby County. I think that's probably the weirdest one, maybe. Or maybe Jack Grealish being the manager of Bishop Stortford, actually. That could be even weirder. I mean, there's some very weird manager situations going on. But I won't keep you waiting anymore. We'll go straight to the Premier League. You'll see what's happened. We are halfway through the 2024-25 season. So the table is sort of halfway through. Well, obviously it's halfway through the season. The table's halfway through the season. So there are obviously games to play left this season when the Premier League finally decides it wants to load. You can already see it up here, though. Holders Chesterfield. I mean, it's not. I don't know why it's taken its time to load. There we go. The Premier League's here. Currently top of the table, Chesterfield. Pretty mental. They won it last season, which is absolutely ridiculous in 2033-34. Tottenham won it the season before that. And Man City are actually the side that have won plenty of Premier League titles. They've won it, they've just won it, basically. They are Mr. Premier League, Man City at the moment. But Chesterfield finished second in the 2031-32 season. Dropped out of the top 3 the next one. But 2033-34, Premier League champions, Chesterfield. The rest of the table actually isn't that mental. It's not that mental. I mean, Fulham are up there in the 3rd, so they've obviously had quite some good regens coming through, because obviously they've got the transfer embargo. All these teams now should be probably relying on the regens, so Fulham have probably done quite a good job. Other than that, though, it's not really looking massively dissimilar to real life, perhaps. Chelsea down near the relegation zone, but that's only halfway through the season, of course, so they could still turn it around. If we drop down to the Championship, though, this is where it starts to get pretty mental. So currently in the 2034-35 season, Barnet sits 2nd, Hereford 5th, Fylde 6th. We've got non-league clubs in their masses in the Championship, so plenty of them will get to the Premier League very soon, I think. Ebbsfleet are here in 16th, Chester in 17th, we've got Telford, Leyton Orient, Wrexham, Halifax, Aldershot, they're all here. Lots of them are here in the Championship, so it's pretty mental. You can see down here, though, 2027-28, Chesterfield came 2nd, so you got promoted. So Chesterfield have been in the Premier League for quite a while, actually. And they won the title in the 2024-25 season. So they actually made some pretty rapid progress all the way up to the Premier League. And now, of course, they've won a Premier League. It's pretty mental for them. We'll look at them later on, by the way, so don't worry about that. But outside of Chesterfield, it doesn't really seem like any other non-league side's been promoted yet. But hopefully that will change for next episode when we go another 10 years in the future next episode. Barnet already 2nd this season so far, so hopefully they will go up. A little look into League One then, and you can see Solihull Moors are in 2nd right now, Harrogate 3rd, Stockport 6th, Dagenham 7th, Woking there, York are there, Salford, Sutton, Bromley, Darlington are there. We've just got loads of non-league clubs coming up, and clearly the transfer embargo, it's worked out perfectly for non-league clubs because they can sign players, and it's those sides that can't. It's all these Football League clubs who haven't got good youth facilities. They just can't do anything. They can't get the good enough players coming in. They have to rely on buying players, but obviously they can't do that right now. So they're dropping down. Non-league clubs are taking over everything in the Football League. It's gone crazy. Dropping down into League 2 now, and there's even more non-league sides here. We've got Curzon Ashton, FC United, Dover, Alfreton, Dulwich Hamlets. It is really crazy. Billericay there as well, Torquay. So many of them. And I've not even seen Lincoln City yet. That's my team. So Lincoln City have been knocked out of the Football League again by looks of things. Forest are down in League 2 as well. Some big clubs dropping down. It now gets exciting when we go to the National League. So there are a few current Football League clubs in the National League right now. Notts County, although they've been relegated in real life, of course. Bury are there, Tranmere, Oxford, Cambridge. a lot of teams have dropped down. Obviously, it's dominated at the moment by non-league sides, normal non-league sides. That is, Kettering look like they want to get up this season into the Football League. National League North, though, it's been absolutely awful for Huddersfield Town. They've been relegated from the Premier League all the way down to Vanarama National League North. We'll look at Huddersfield more in depth in a few moments' time, but I think Huddersfield, this is perhaps the worst fall from grace we've seen from any side. I mean, just look at that downward trajectory. I mean, it really is a lot of red there, a lot of red. I would have thought, being a Premier League side, they would have had the foresight to actually invest in youth facilities and be able to sign a few good youth players, but clearly not. Lincoln City here, unfortunately, they're my team. It's very sad to see them there, but so are Carlisle, Mansfield, Burton, Port Vale, Morecambe. Plenty of teams have come down. If we look into the National South as well, there's some more Football League clubs or real life. Gillingham are still just about holding on, things like that. But Oldham, we looked at them last episode. They were already in the relegation zone, actually. I think they actually did get relegated from National League North. Oldham are the first team I want to really have a look at. Oh, blimey, it is pretty bad for Oldham. They're in the Northern Premier League, so I'm not sure if that's one below Vanarama National or not. There might be two below Vanarama National, which does show how bad it is. They've been relegated twice from the National League North, once in the 22-23 season and once in the 25-26 season. So really, I mean, Oldham just aren't a club anymore. It's really bad for them. So last episode, we looked at a few players with their current ability and potential ability, and I completely forgot. I was reminded in the comment section that actually we can just make a new filter and a new view, so we can look at the current ability, which is this column here, potential ability there, value here, and we've got form in there as well, just for the hell of it. Either way, it means we can see exactly every player's potential and current ability and things like that. So looking at this Oldham side, these two players, Ken and Wayne, potential 115, 108. That's not too bad, actually. Like, these three players, Jordan Briggs included, they are very, very good players for this level. They should be playing a lot higher, obviously, but clearly Oldham just can't do anything with it, and no club wants to buy them either, clearly, because they can't make transfers. The rest of the Oldham side, though, is pretty abysmal. Plenty of greyed out players. Clearly, they just can't afford to keep any real players and things like that. So Oldham have just become absolutely insignificant. At the other end of the spectrum, though, Chesterfield. Now, I've just seen them in the Champions League, and they've just played Seville in the Champions League, which is interesting. So we'll have a quick look at the Continental stuff a little later on. Looks like they've actually got through their group as well, which is even more mental. They did get through their group. Have they actually won a Champions League or something, do we reckon? How far did they get last year in it? They won the FA Cup last season. We'll look at the Cup as well a little bit. No Continental competition for Chesterfield yet, I don't think. If we look at the history, they have won, obviously, a Premier League and FA Cup Championship. No Continental competitions yet, but I reckon they might win something soon. Let's have a quick look at what kind of money they're spending, because obviously they can make transfers, Chesterfield, because they were a non-league club. Most of these players now, in fact, pretty much all of them should be regen, so we won't recognise any names, but spending £62 million this season. Last season, they spent £73 million on a couple of players coming in and made £52 million from transfers. 47 million the season before that as well. Like, they are absolutely burning through money, Chesterfield. How much money do they actually have? Edit club details, finances. They're minus nearly £15 million. So, they've got a very, very bad bank balance. Hopefully at the end of the season, when they get the prize money for their various things, that'll just rocket back up, and hopefully. But I hope we're not seeing the end of Chesterfield now, that they've suddenly got into transfer, into debt, and transfer debt probably as well. Let's have a look at their squad then. Their best player has got 184 current ability. Now that is pretty mental. Safarad. I don't think he's going to be a Chesterfield regen by the sounds of that name, but you never know with these sort of things. He's Swedish, so probably not a Chesterfield regen. Came from Malmo. Was bought for 1.3 million, to be fair. What an absolute steal, considering his actual current ability. Average ratings don't back it up, but that's a pretty good current ability of 184. Alan Holloway, though, he's the second best potential, 176 potential. That sounds English. Potentially, he could be a regen of Chesterfield. He's a regen of Millwall, so Millwall doing quite well, clearly, with their regens. Bought for only 170k. That seems very cheap to me, but he's got a lot of potential. He could be very good. Sheldon Edwards, don't let me down. Please be a regen of Chesterfield. I'm going to say another Millwall, not quite Millwall. He came from Trinidad and Tobago first and then went to Millwall. Although there's no transfer fee there, so maybe he did come from Millwall and just was there for a little while. I'm not quite sure how that one works out, but Millwall clearly doing quite well. Let's have a look at them in a few minutes. We won't go through any more Chesterfield players. I don't think they are getting the regen. I think they are just buying players in because they just can do, and it's clearly working for them because they are top of the Premier League. Millwall, though, right. Millwall, we've seen them produce a few good players already. They're currently 10th in League One, so they've not really felt the benefits of all these good regens coming through. The best one at the moment is Gary Frew. He's valued at £1 million, 128 potential. He's a Millwall regen, has been there his entire career since the Championship. They've obviously been relegated as well, so that's a bit of a shame for them. Actually, I don't know why I had to say is he a regen of Millwall, because they can't sign players, so he will be a regen of Millwall. So yeah, Millwall, to be fair, not doing bad with these players. They've got some decent ones, 128. Obviously, it's not quite Premier League, and we've seen some of those Premier League quality potential players move to the Premier League, Chesterfield, for example. But Millwall seems to be a bit of a production house. I do want to look at Southampton as well, just because we know that traditionally they are very, very good at producing wonder kids. They seem to be bouncing up and down all over the place, finishing as high as third one season. So the regens are working for them, I suppose. They are getting into those Champions League positions. Ed Piper has got 192 potential. Now, that is absolutely massive. Where does he play? He's a goalkeeper as well, so that's pretty decent for them, of course. Southampton regen. Can't go on loan anywhere either, really, unless he goes to a non-league club or a non-league club that's been promoted to Football League. But he's stayed at Southampton his entire career, broken into the first team, and has had, I'd say, a pretty successful spell so far. Once he reaches that potential, though, that will be massive. To be fair, most of them are really good. Loads of them are over 150. And I said last episode, I think 150 is the benchmark for Wonder Kid. It might not be. It might be a little bit higher. I can't quite remember what the actual figure is. But they've got a lot of very good potential players. If they can keep hold of them, Chesterfield maybe not buying them and things like that, that would be very good for them. I reckon Southampton, by the end of this experiment, could be a Premiership winning side. At the other end of the spectrum, though, it's time to look at Huddersfield. This, I think, is probably the last team that we'll look at for this episode. If you want to look at specific teams and you've got a good reason for looking at them, please do let me know down in the comment section. Obviously, I would love to go through and show you every single side, but realistically, I don't have the time, and neither do you, to watch me go through every single side. So that's why I'm just picking and choosing a few interesting ones. So Huddersfield's facilities then, they have excellent youth facilities and excellent training facilities. The junior coaching youth recruitment, that's actually quite bad. So they need to up that if they want to get good regions. And that might be what has affected them, because excellent youth facilities should not mean they drop down to the Vanarama National League North. If we look at their squad, though, no player has got a potential of over 100. So that's obviously one of the key indicators to show that they really have had very, very poor regen days and bad youth intakes. If we look at their history, or transfer history, that's what we'll look at. Transfer history. So are they selling good players? I mean, Bradford keep taking players on loan from them, but it's not like they sold a player to Dagenham there. Trevor Gordon, he's retired now. Dominic Sully has gone way abroad. I don't even know where this team's from. Maybe Ghana, because he's Ghanaian himself. If we look at his abilities, though, only 89 potential, 97 potential, so nothing actually spectacular. Tommy Smith went to Rangers for 1.7 million, but he's now retired or something like that. But Philip Billing went to Villarreal for 3.9 million. He's still around, apparently. What was his potential then? Because he's a coach now, so he's actually retired from football. But if he went for 3.9 million, his potential was only 135, so not actually that good. I just think Huddersfield Town have been quite unlucky more than anything else. I don't think it's that, they're selling their really good regens straight away, because they're not getting good regens. So I think they just have been massively unlucky. So we'll finish off then by looking at some winners of the Champions League and Europa League before we go to the England squad and see if that's improved at all because of all these regens that are coming through. There was actually some early success, I've got to say, for English clubs. Arsenal won it in 2021, Man City in 2023 and in 2025. After that, though, no English side has won. It's all been in German, Spanish or French. So actually quite a range of countries winning it. AC Milan getting to the final. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid getting to the final plenty of times. Losing it multiple times, though. So to be fair, it's the two Madrid sides that seem to have absolutely dominated it more than anything else in the Champions League, that is. So no English sides for the last 10 seasons or so. Hopefully that'll change with Chesterfield. Europa League, a little bit more recent success. There was no real success to start off with. A few English sides losing in the finals. Tottenham, United, Chelsea losing it multiple times there. But since then, we have seen the rise of Chelsea winning it, Arsenal winning it, Liverpool winning it, Southampton runners up. So a little bit more success in the Euro Cup. And it does show that actually, the top six sides, your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, your Man Uniteds, they actually are doing all right, as I thought they would do, because they have got those initial resources anyway to get some really good players in. So they've sort of been all right. What we need to look at now, though, is England. All these regens that keep coming through, they're all being played week in, week out. Surely at this stage, we might have won a World Cup. Let's look at our history. We have won 2 World Cups now, so clearly this has worked in England's favour very nicely because all the regions are coming through, a vast majority of them are English and they are getting Premier League football from a young age, week in, week out. It means they're going to get very good very quickly. And we've won a European Championship as well, actually, along the lines here. So our 2 World Cups, obviously we won it in 1966, but here it says 2026, England are the winners of it. We've not been runners-up or third place anywhere else along there, so we just won it in 2026, which is pretty phenomenal. Nearly 10 years ago now, so we need to do something about that and try and win a few more World Cups. European Championships, though, was 2028, so that's also pretty good. And again, that's the only time we've ever been in the final of the European Championships since then, so that's all good. If we actually look at the England squad now, what kind of players have we got in there? So Ed Piper that we looked at already, he is in the squad right now. Of course, that goalkeeper, he's obviously phenomenal stuff. Jeremy Palmer is the next best player potential-wise, 187 potential. He comes in from Tottenham. So Tottenham doing quite well with their regens as well. Sam Perkins, 185 from Manchester United. So again, these top 6 sort of clubs doing very well. Des O'Neill, where's he come from then? Barcelona, actually. Interestingly, I assume Barcelona must have bought him from. He started at Charlton. That's a pretty good one to start off with. Went to PSG for 1.1 million. A few seasons down the line, they make over 1,000% profit on him, selling him for 133 million before going to Barcelona for 82 million. He looks like an He looks like an absolutely incredible player. Look at those sort of returns. He's looking decent. Again, though. Weird bug I think we're seeing. They're only playing half a season. Like, he's only getting 20 games or 18 games. Why is he not getting a full 44, 46 games a season? What's that about? We've seen that a few times in experiments, that when they go abroad, maybe it's because they've not got the loaded leagues in. Because I don't load that. We're in England. I need to load the English leagues, really. I'm not bothered about anything else. So perhaps that's why it is. Either way, most of this England side does look, I've got to say, pretty decent, I've got to say. Nearly every player over 150 potential, which is very, very good. Trent Alexander-Arnold, still around the England squad. 36 years old, still at Liverpool. Probably will be leaving pretty soon. Hopefully he'll retire in the next year or so. But of course, has always been at Liverpool. Hasn't been sold at any point either. So well done, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oh, Rashford's still there as well. I didn't even spot that. Rashford is there. And so's Phil Foden. Rashford still at Manchester United. Played very well every single season by looks of things. Never gone below a 7 rating, so that's very impressive. And then Phil Foden is still at Man City. He was never sold either. Not quite as impressive as Marcus Rashford. Has dipped below a 7 rating a few times, but still looks like a solid player. So there we have it. It's pretty mental, all right? It's pretty mental what's gone on. Chesterfield have won the Premier League. I think next time we come back, another 10 years in the future, we're going to see a whole host of non-league sides in the Premier League. Now, of course, in another 10 seasons' time, we'll be in 2044. That's after the transfer embargo is finished. So we're going to see a real contrast. We'll see the first few seasons of the transfer embargo still in place. And then after that, that's when it's all going to change. That's when clubs can finally sign players again. And will we see a change? Will we see those non-league sides that have had that burst up really drop down? Or is this the new order of English football now? Are those non-league sides going to stay there? Are they there to stay now? And it's the sides like Lincoln City, like Huddersfield, that are down in non-league, they're going to really struggle to actually get back up there into the Football League in the first place. It's an exciting one in my opinion, so make sure you're here on Wednesday for the next episode, probably the last episode as well, I think, that we'll do on this experiment. So if you've enjoyed it today, please do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. You've got a choice of what video to watch. There's going to be a subscribe button in the middle of the screen, so if you've not pressed that already, press that one. You can either watch another experiment, or you can carry on watching the Lincoln Loco series. If you've not started that already, that's an absolute corker. I recommend you go and watch it. So I'll see you in one of those videos. Goodbye.